Welcome to Where Arts Meets Medicine, a podcast from Stanford Healthcare. Here we explore how creativity supports healing through personal stories, therapeutic practice, and the growing connection between the arts and medicine. This series explores the intersection of creativity and healing through stories from patients, caregivers, artists, facilitators, and clinicians who are part of our Creative and Healing Arts program. At Stanford Healthcare, we believe healing goes beyond medicine. The Creative and Healing Arts Department brings ambient music, virtual reality, therapeutic art, sound bath, and other forms of expression into our hospital spaces, supporting emotional well-being, relieving stress, and creating moments of reflection, connection, and joy. In this series, you'll hear personal reflections, creative insights, and the science behind how art can help us heal mind, body, and spirit. Hi, my name is Sophina McDaniel, and I'm the manager of Creative and Healing Arts at Stanford Healthcare and the host of Where Arts Meets Medicine.
My name is Kyra Sisip, and I am the creative media facilitator and the co-host of Where Arts Meets Medicine.
Joining us today is Shaw, our sound bath and creative arts facilitator here at Stanford Healthcare. She guides patients, families, and staff through calming, meditative experiences that support healing through sound and creative expression. Shaw, we're so glad to have you. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and the work you do?
Hi, my name is Shah Hurley. I am an art facilitator in Stanford Healthcare Cancer Center in the Palo Alto Hospital. My job was to more go to the patient room to do arts with them to help with the healing. Moving forward, I'll be playing singing, sound healing, and then also facilitate some of those creativity workshops with not just patients, but physicians, nurses, or their family members.
Great. Thank you, Shaw. Thank you for kind of giving us a little preview of what you'll be doing next. We're really excited about the sound bath and creative space that you're going to be having at Stanford. I'm curious to learn more. What inspired you on this journey of guiding visionary leaders?
So what inspires me to do the job, to do what I'm doing now, is to help people to see the truth. So outside of Stanford Hospital, I coach executives and leaders. And because if they don't see the truth, they show up in a way that can hurt themselves and hurt people around them in personal and professional lives. And now when I work in the hospital, patients, some of them stay in the hospital for more than a month, half a year. The stories they tell themselves can uplift them. It can also push them to hell. So through arts, we really activate a different part of the brain. So we come out of those illusions that we created. And so we see the truth. And if we really look at all the stories, then, all the process experiences I had with those patients, the truth leads to love, like love for oneself and love for everyone. But we have to allow ourselves to look at all the obstacles that stops us from seeing the truth. So the healing actually happens during that process. When I grew up, I did not get this unconditional love. My love I received was very conditional. If you get good grades, you're loved. If you behave well, you're loved. And it hurt a lot because I feel like I couldn't be my authentic self. So when I was in the hospital working with the patients, I see the same pattern showing up. The patients needs to behave in a certain way for their family member to wanting to visit them, spend time with them, not because they don't love them, but just because some of their family members don't have the capacity to hold the pain that they're seeing in their patients. So the joy for me is to really, sometimes we do a session, we create a certain condition for them to expand their capacity to face what's in front of them, not to hide or, escape. That bringing them closer with each other, that allow them to love each other.
I think majority of anyone coming from Asian ethnic background, that's such a commonality in their upbringing. So I love hearing how you kind of pushed back against that in a way where you're able to kind of heal from that now and reflect and really change that pattern, right? And I think that's really important. I know you had said you kind of emphasize, how all answers lie within us. And I know you kind of touched on it a little bit. How do you help people, uncover those answers through a therapeutic approach?
With the patients, sometimes it can be challenging because a lot of them are facing tremendous fear. Some of them are going to have a surgery, a heart open surgery, or difficult decision to need to make in life. So they are in a very fearful state. the work I do with them through art is to provide a safe space, non-judgmental, so they can process everything and then come back to their bodily sensation, and then process and come back through arts. We're not talking. I guide them through meditation so they can go inward. There are times I've seen patients who are like, wow, I was in a trance state. Like I saw this flower in my heart. They get that information they needed through their own experiences. So I took myself away from it by just kind of like cultivating the condition for them to create whatever they needed in that moment. Sometimes it's laughter. Sometimes just like you kind of like get to work together, and through that kind of engagement, and then okay, joy isn't needed. We don't have to dive deeper into those darkness. It's they've been doing this for the whole month they spend in the hospital. So can we do that? Because once they feel joy, they feel more relaxed in their body, and then they get the data points that they need to make the decision they need to make, not out of fear, but out of this joyful state of being.
Thank you, Sha, for sharing that. And you had a chance to share some experience that you've seen some of these major transformations through therapeutic arts and creativity. So thank you for sharing that. I would love to learn more how you're going to bring art and sound together and during the sound bath drop-in experience, and what you're hoping to see in that space, or what you're hoping to give to those who are able to attend.
What I'm hoping that can only be happening naturally is connection, because we cannot force people to connect. If we force people to connect, that can only create tension. But based on my experiences hosting, circles and groups, I noticed that there's always something that connects those people come in a specific setting. And if we pay attention to that common thread, and you will see, okay, the universe bringing those people together today for this 1 hour together. And sometimes they can form lifelong friendship in those very intimate setting. So what I'm hoping is people can come and then cultivate that connection naturally on a deeper level, not so much complaining about things, which happens very often in workspace. We don't have enough resources, and then I don't want to go to hospital, or I don't want to go to the office because people just complain. I take that negative energy back home. But if we take care of ourselves, that connection will based on a place of essence, which is love, not so much just let's just complain about something that we both agree to. So I'm hoping to bring in more peace and harmony to the place, but that needs to be cultivated from within. And then together, it's more collectively we can expand. Because if one person, I'm hoping for one person walk out of the circle feeling more peace, the 10 people that the person connects with after the circle will feel the peace from this person. And that 10 people going back home, their children and the patients they work with, they'll feel the peace from them. So that's my hope. But I know it takes practice too.
That's lovely. What advice would you give for like other leaders or people working who are struggling with burnout or feeling really overwhelmed?
If I really say if there's one advice, will be honest with yourself through those direct experiences. Because a lot of those burnout situations can be cured by ourselves through awareness and the wisdom we cultivate through some of the healing experiences we have. My teacher always say that, there are so many third men nowadays. People think they can, look at some Instagram post, and if someone so and so said do 3 things, then you're gonna be healthy or that, and then you're like looking at the post, you're like, wow, I already feel healthier by just looking at the post. Really, is that true? So we sometimes need to really have that direct experiences, right? If you're really doing, say, I'm a yoga teacher, right? Yoga meditation, it's not like you read a book about yoga meditation then you become enlightened. It's really you have to go to the class, you do the practice, and then you cultivate that wisdom within yourself. You're like, oh, that come from myself. Some of the wisdoms might be similar messages you heard from your parents from 20 years ago that you never wanted to listen, but now you do because it comes from yourself. I don't have a specific advice. I always think of just have direct experiences, turn on the awareness. My teachers say this is like a turn on this conscious awareness 24/7 whenever you can. Be honest with yourself. Yeah, if you're not happy, you don't have to pretend you're happy. If you're not healthy, you don't have to pretend that you're healthy. But then only then we can start to take actions on our own.
Resonates very well. And I think, gives a space of reflection, right? To really think about So I know we're coming up to the end, and so I don't know if we've had a chance to touch on everything that you would like to share, but do you have any final words of wisdom or anything else you would like to share with us that we haven't asked or touched on?
I think maybe one last word, just like let's just all take responsibilities for our own inner whatever suffering that we are facing, so we can be a more loving person.
Right. Well, thank you, Shah. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and bringing your heart into this space. I'm just so excited by being able to share kind of the more deeper meaning of the work that you're doing, that our other facilitators do, so that we can really kind of help reshape and reframe how this shows up in spaces like a hospital and the importance of it. This is the interconnectedness that we have as human beings that you're speaking to, and how important it is to, self-care in a very busy space sometimes is not always looked at as first priority. But like when you look at it from that perspective, it almost feels like it has to happen, right? Like it's a must. Thank you so much for joining us.
To learn more about creative and healing arts at Stanford Healthcare, find our website link in the description. Be well and keep creating.